When it comes to choosing the right partner, people act like it's a simple decision, like you're picking what movie to watch tonight or what restaurant sounds good. But the truth is, the person you choose to love is one of the biggest decisions you will ever make, because that choice will shape your peace, your future, your happiness, your confidence, your success, and even the way you see yourself. People say love is blind, but that's only because they don't pay attention when it matters most. You cannot build a life with somebody whose presence breaks you down more than it builds you up. You cannot grow with someone who is committed to staying the same. You cannot find peace with someone who brings nothing but storms. A lot of people end up in the wrong relationship, not because they don't know what they want, but because they ignore the signs that tell them the person in front of them cannot give it. They get so caught up in potential that they forget potential is not a promise. You can't fall in love with who someone could be someday. You have to fall in love with who they are right now and whether that person fits the life you are trying to build. If they can't give you respect now, love won't magically create it later. If they can't communicate now, time won't fix that habit. If they can't be faithful now, commitment won't change them. A relationship does not turn a broken partner whole. It turns a broken partner into a broken marriage. Choosing the right partner means choosing someone whose actions match your future, not just your feelings. Relationships are supposed to support your life, not sink it. The right partner brings peace to your mind, not chaos. They make you feel lighter, not heavier. They help you breathe easier, sleep better, think clearer. They push you to improve, not impress. They give you honesty even when it's uncomfortable, not lies dressed up as comfort. They stand beside you in your struggles, not disappear when things aren't convenient. They support your dreams, not compete with them. And the right partner knows that love is a verb. They don't just say they love you, they show it every day. Through effort, through consistency, through presence, through accountability, through growth. What people don't talk about enough is how powerful the right person can be for your life. When you're with someone who truly wants to see you win, something in your spirit unlocks. You feel safer, braver, more focused. You start believing in yourself in ways you never have. Your confidence grows because you have someone at home who believes in you even on the days you don't believe in yourself. That kind of partnership can shift your whole direction. You start dreaming bigger because you know you're not dreaming alone. You start taking bigger steps because you know someone has your back. You start becoming a better version of yourself because their love challenges you, inspires you, and strengthens you. But the wrong person will do the opposite. They will drain you emotionally until you have nothing left to give. They will make you question your worth, your abilities, your value. They will create confusion, insecurity, stress, and emotional instability. They will make you feel like you are walking on eggshells all the time, trying not to upset them, trying to earn their love, trying to keep the peace. That isn't love, that's survival. And too many people are surviving in relationships instead of thriving. You can't build a future with someone who destroys your present. You can't find joy with someone who multiplies your stress. You can't create a peaceful home with someone whose heart is full of chaos. People underestimate how much a relationship affects their life. When you're with the wrong partner, your mind gets tired, your spirit gets tired, your energy gets low, you lose creativity, you lose motivation, you lose direction, you lose yourself. That's the cost of committing to someone who isn't aligned with your purpose. But when you choose the right partner, your whole world starts shifting for the better. You gain clarity, you gain focus, you gain confidence, you gain emotional stability, you gain joy, you gain peace. And when a person brings peace into your life, you treat the world differently because you're not fighting at home. Peace at home creates strength outside. Chaos at home creates weakness everywhere. Choosing the right partner is not about finding perfection. It's about finding someone who is willing, someone who tries, someone who communicates, someone who apologizes, someone who grows, someone who understands, someone who meets you where you are but also pushes you toward where you could be. Someone who knows that love cannot survive on convenience but thrives on consistency. Someone who knows that effort is the language of love and emotional safety is the currency of connection. A mature partner knows love is not always $50 and $50. Some days it's $80, 20. Some days it's 30, 70. Some days one person is tired, overwhelmed, struggling, and the other steps up without complaining. The right partner doesn't keep score. They don't weaponize your weaknesses. They don't punish you for being human. They don't turn disagreements into battles or mistakes into character flaws. They understand that partnership means teamwork, and teamwork means understanding the season your partner is in, and the right partner is someone you can trust. Not just trust to be loyal, but trust to be honest. Trust to be gentle with your heart. Trust to communicate when they're hurting instead of shutting down. Trust to tell you the truth instead of hiding behind silence. Trust to choose you even when life gets difficult. Trust to be present even when emotions get rough. Trust to stay grounded even when the relationship hits a storm. Because storms aren't a sign to leave, they're a chance to learn. But only the right person knows how to weather a storm with you instead of becoming the storm themselves. Most importantly, choosing the right partner means choosing someone whose vision aligns with your vision. Someone who wants the same kind of life, not someone who wants to convince you to settle for theirs. Compatibility isn't about liking the same music or movies. It's about aligning values, aligning goals, aligning beliefs, aligning work ethic, aligning direction. You can love someone deeply and still not be able to build a life with them. Love without alignment is chaos. Love without compatibility is struggle. Love without shared purpose is confusion. But love with alignment becomes power. Love with compatibility becomes peace. Love with shared purpose becomes unstoppable. The partner you choose becomes the voice you hear the most, the energy you feel the most, the influence that shapes you the most. That's why choosing the right partner isn't just a romantic decision, it's a life decision. Who they are becomes part of who you become. If you choose a partner with peace, you grow in peace. If you choose a partner with ambition, you grow in ambition. If you choose a partner with emotional maturity, you grow emotionally. If you choose a partner with vision, you grow in purpose. But if you choose a partner with trauma they refuse to heal, you inherit pain that isn't yours. If you choose a partner who refuses accountability, you inherit battles you didn't start. If you choose a partner who doesn't know their own worth, you become responsible for trying to rescue their self-esteem every day. Choosing wisely isn't about fear. It's about valuing your life enough to protect your future. Because when you love the right person, life doesn't get easier, but it gets more meaningful, more supported, more balanced, more guided, and everything you want becomes more possible. Because you're building with someone who wants to see you win instead of watching you struggle. When it comes to love, people underestimate just how powerful honesty, communication, and emotional responsibility really are. Everybody talks about wanting a strong relationship, but nobody wants to admit how much work it takes to build one. You can't have real love if you're scared to tell the truth. You can't have trust if you refuse to communicate. And you can't have peace if you don't take responsibility for your own emotions. Love doesn't fall apart because two people don't care. It falls apart because two people stop connecting, stop listening, stop owning their mess, and start expecting the relationship to run on autopilot. But love is not automatic. It needs intention every day. The problem today is people love to talk, but they don't like to communicate. Talking is saying whatever comes to your mind. Communicating is saying what you truly feel in a way your partner can understand. People don't get that communication is not about being loud, being right, or being clever. It's about being honest. It's about sharing your heart, not just your opinions. It's about expressing your needs without turning them into accusations. It's about listening without interrupting, without defending, without trying to win. That's the hardest part for most people. They don't listen to understand. They listen to respond. If you're listening just so you can fire back your point, then you're not in a conversation. You're in a competition. And a relationship should never feel like a competition. Honesty is the heartbeat of love, not selective honesty. Not honesty when it's convenient. Not honesty when you're comfortable. The real kind of honesty, the kind that makes you vulnerable, the kind that makes you uncomfortable, the kind that exposes the truth you'd rather hide. Honesty takes courage because it requires you to show yourself fully. It means telling your partner the truth about how you feel, what you fear, what you need, what hurts you, what inspires you, what disappoints you. It means admitting when you're wrong, apologizing with humility, and acknowledging the impact of your actions. But a lot of people lie in ways they don't even recognize. They lie when they say, "I'm fine," while they're breaking inside. They lie when they stay silent even though something is bothering them. They lie when they pretend they don't care about something that's hurting them deeply. They lie when they hide their insecurities instead of expressing them. They lie when they sweep problems under the rug instead of addressing them. Silence is dishonesty disguised as peace, but it never leads to real peace. It only builds resentment, and resentment is like rust. It destroys a relationship slowly from the inside until one day it collapses. Emotional responsibility is where the real growth happens. It means owning your reactions instead of blaming your partner for how you feel. It means recognizing your triggers and managing them before they spill into your relationship. It means controlling your temper, your words, your impulses, your defensiveness. It means checking your ego at the door because ego does not belong in love. Too many people say things in anger and then act shocked when the relationship cracks under the weight of those words. When you speak out of pain, insecurity, or pride, you can do damage that apologies can't always repair. Being emotionally responsible means asking yourself, did I contribute to this problem? Instead of saying, you made me feel this way. Nobody can make you feel something. Your feelings belong to you. And until you learn to manage them, you will project them onto the person you love. You'll start fights that didn't need to happen. You'll create distance that didn't need to exist. You'll wound your partner not because they hurt you, but because you don't know what to do with your own emotions. Ground love requires grown handling of your emotional storms. Communication isn't just talking, it's checking in. It's noticing the small shifts in your partner's energy. It's asking, are you okay? When something feels off, it's sitting down and having real conversations about love. Fears, goals, dreams, needs, expectations, boundaries. It's being open about what you want, not assuming your partner should automatically know. Nobody can read your mind. If you don't speak up, you can't blame someone for not understanding you. Closed mouths create broken hearts. You cannot build closeness in silence. You cannot build connection through unspoken pain. If you don't communicate the problem, you're helping it grow. And communication isn't only about the heavy conversations. It's about the everyday ones. The texts that say, thinking about you. The calls that say, just checking on you. The small gestures that show your presence. Love grows through simple, consistent connection. You don't have to write poetry or make dramatic speeches. Sometimes it's just about showing up with attention, being fully present, listening with your heart, not just your ears, being willing to understand your partner even when you don't agree with them. That's emotional maturity. That's communication that builds instead of breaks. Real love comes with accountability. When you mess up, you own it. When you hurt your partner intentionally or not, you acknowledge it. When your behavior creates distance, you close the gap instead of pretending nothing happened. Accountability says, I care about how my actions affect you. Accountability says, your feelings matter to me. Accountability says, I want this relationship to win more than I want to be right. And that kind of accountability builds trust. When trust grows, love grows stronger. But when trust weakens, love becomes fragile. Love requires the courage to ask questions like, how can I love you better? Or, what do you need from me right now? Or, did I misunderstand you? Or are we still moving in the same direction? These questions aren't signs of weakness. They're signs of maturity. They show that you're not just in the relationship. You're invested in it. You're building it intentionally. You're choosing clarity over assumption. You're choosing connection over pride. And let's not forget patience. Communication without patience turns into arguments. Honesty without patience becomes harshness. Emotional responsibility without patience feels cold. Patience is what keeps you calm when your partner is expressing something difficult. It's what allows you to hear them without feeling attacked. It's what keeps you grounded when the conversation gets emotional. It's what allows you to process before you react. It's what turns communication into intimacy rather than conflict. When you combine honesty, communication, and emotional responsibility, love becomes a safe place instead of a battlefield. It becomes a partnership instead of a power struggle. It becomes a space where both people can grow, heal, express, dream, and evolve. You both become better because you're operating through understanding instead of assumption, connection instead of confusion, and responsibility instead of blame. That's how strong love is built, not in perfect moments, but in honest ones. When you finally understand that love is not built on what you promise, but on what you practice, you start showing up in a completely different way. You stop worrying about looking perfect, sounding perfect, acting perfect, and you start focusing on being present. Love requires a certain kind of courage because it forces you to reveal parts of yourself you've spent years trying to hide. And the funny thing is, the moment you let someone see the parts you're most insecure about, those are usually the parts they end up loving the most, because that's where your truth lies. Real connection is born in those honest spaces, where you don't pretend that you're okay when you're not, where you don't pretend you don't care when you actually care deeply, where you don't pretend to be strong when inside you're falling apart, but you're choosing to hold on anyway. Love isn't scared of your cracks, it just needs access to them, so it can fill you with something stronger than fear. You know the biggest trick in relationships, learning to listen even when you're mad. That's where most people lose the battle. People listen to respond, not to understand. They listen to defend themselves, not to learn their partner's heart. And then they wonder why the same argument keeps coming back like a rerun of a show they didn't even like the first time. When you actually slow down, breathe, and listen with the intention of understanding, you hear things that change the way you love. You hear pain you overlooked. You hear needs you assumed were already met. You hear fears you didn't realize were sitting right under the surface. And when you respond to those things instead of reacting to the words thrown in frustration, you become the safe place that every person in a relationship is secretly praying for. Love needs consistency, not convenience. Anybody can love you when it's easy. Anybody can love you on vacation, when the sun is out, the bills are paid, and everybody's smiling. But the real test is whether they show up when the plans fall apart, when stress gets heavy, when life hits you with something unexpected. Real love shows up in sweatpants and messy hair, in late night apologies and early morning effort. Real love knows how to say, I'm tired, but I'm still here. It knows how to stand in the storm without running for shelter every time the wind blows. The most meaningful relationships are built by people who choose each other on the days it feels inconvenient, because that's when the choosing actually matters. Another thing people forget about love is that it needs boundaries to grow. People think boundaries mean distance, but boundaries actually create closeness because they create safety. When you know what your partner values, what they tolerate, what hurts them, what builds them, you stop taking shots in the dark and you start loving them with precision. And when you know your own boundaries, you stop giving discounted versions of yourself away. You love better when you love from fullness, not exhaustion. You love better when you say no when you need to, so that the yes means something when you give it. Boundaries are love's guardrails, not its barriers. They keep the relationship from falling off the edge. And then there's the truth that most people don't want to admit out loud. Love will expose your flaws, your impatience, your selfishness, your pride, your stubbornness. It will show you exactly where you need to grow. And that's why some people run when they find real love. Because it demands that you evolve. It forces you to question habits you've carried for years. It pushes you to heal wounds that have been dictating your reactions. It asks you to soften where you've built walls and strengthen where you've been fragile. Love is the greatest self-development program on the planet, because the moment you try to build a life with someone else, you realize the work you haven't done on yourself. And if you're brave enough to face it, love becomes the thing that transforms you. One of the most powerful things you can do in any relationship is to communicate your truth clearly, calmly, and consistently. Not through silent treatment, not through sarcasm, not through guessing games. Real communication is grown-up work. It means saying what you feel without trying to hurt the other person. It means expressing your needs without demanding perfection. It means talking about the uncomfortable stuff without shutting down or exploding. People think love dies because of big disasters, but most relationships fade because of small miscommunications that pile up over time. When you learn to talk openly, you prevent problems instead of repairing them. And when you learn to speak with kindness, even your tough conversations become a bridge instead of a battlefield. But communication alone doesn't build love if your actions don't back it up. You can't say, I love you, and then disappear. You can't promise change and then go back to the same habits. You can't expect loyalty when you give inconsistency. Love is a full-time commitment, not a part-time performance. The beauty of it is, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing. Willing to try. Willing to grow. Willing to humble yourself when you're wrong. willing to show appreciation even on ordinary days, willing to pay attention to the little things that make your partner feel seen, willing to show love in the language they understand, willing to put in effort even when you don't feel like it. Love isn't found, it's built one choice at a time. There's something powerful that happens when you love someone in a way that brings out the best in them. Not by controlling them, not by changing them, not by criticizing them until they fold, but by encouraging their strengths, believing in their dreams, holding them up when life tries to knock them down. People thrive where they feel valued. People bloom where they feel appreciated. People give their best in places where they feel safe. The right love becomes fuel. It gives you a reason to rise higher, to fight harder, to dream bigger. When you pour love into someone the right way, they don't become dependent on you, they become stronger with you. Trust is the foundation that keeps all of this standing. Without trust, everything shakes. Trust isn't built by grand gestures, it's built by 1,000 small moments of honesty, showing up when you say you will, keeping your word even when it's inconvenient, telling the truth even when it's hard, being transparent instead of secretive. Trust grows quietly, but it breaks loudly. That's why protecting it is one of the most important responsibilities in a relationship. When trust is present, love flows freely. When trust is broken, love becomes heavy, guarded, hesitant. And rebuilding trust requires patience, consistency, and a willingness to take responsibility for your part. At the end of the day, love will challenge you, heal you, stretch you, and reward you in ways nothing else can. It will ask for effort, vulnerability, honesty, patience, and understanding. It will break your ego but build your character. It will test you but also teach you. And if you show up with an open heart and a willing spirit, love will give you more than you ever imagined.